Hello, hello. Hopefully we'll have some people come in. It's good to be on here. Happy Thursday, everyone. It's almost the weekend. Today we are going to be having a special guest, and they're going to be here to talk about a project called Project Lifesaver. Hi, Mally. Hope you are doing well. Hi, Melissa. Good to see you too. Thank you guys for jumping in. I'm going to put the link out here for the special guest. So that's who the link is for. I know she wasn't planning on being here till about 2 o'clock, but you never know. Some people like to show up early, so I'm early. I'm going to send her a message and let her know that I am live. Mally, I made you a moderator just in case nobody else shows up. Oh, there you are. Hello there.
Can you see me, Jeanette?
Yes, I can see you and I can hear you. There is a little bit of a delay in talking, so hopefully we won't talk over each other. Chris is all professional and got her stuff ready. And hi, Hoosier. We was just getting all set up. Okay. We can. There's not many. I didn't expect many because there is a case out of Arizona that is just going wild. And I bet that's where a lot of people are at. So they're watching that unfold. So, Chris, what is Project Lifesaver, and how long has Project Lifesaver been in Putnam County?
Well, first of all, hello, everybody. And I'm getting an echo. Hang on a second, Jan.
Okay. Yeah, make sure it's muted on the YouTube side.
Okay, give me 1 second here. Let me make sure I got that done then.
And sorry, anybody, if you hear my dog snoring. They can get quite loud.
Okay, I gave it another try, and hopefully you're not hearing any Echoing. I'm not hearing any echoing, so I guess we're ready to go then, right?
All right. Yeah.
All right. So first of all, I'd like to thank you very much for inviting me to be able to speak about this program, because it is an extremely helpful program for those with cognitive conditions, but there's so many people that just aren't aware that it's out there. So
Right.
I'd like to spend some time today to let everybody know what Project Lifesaver is all about, how it works, and how you can get either involved in a team locally to where you are, or enroll a loved one or a family member or friend or somebody that you know that might be able to benefit from this program, now that you'll have an understanding of the benefits it can bring and why it's so important. So my name is Chris Schafer, and I've been involved with Project Lifesaver for about 5 years now. And I live in a fairly remote rural county with few resources, either people resources like first responders. A lot of our fire departments in our county are volunteer based. We've got the local sheriff's department, and a couple small towns have their own police departments, but our first responder resource pool is pretty small. So that had an impact about how and when we were able to launch our program, and I'll get into that a little bit later. So Project Lifesaver is a specialized search and rescue program specifically for people with cognitive conditions like Alzheimer's, dementia, autism, Down syndrome, and even traumatic brain injuries, because what cognitive conditions do is they impact your ability to process, identify, and remove yourself from dangerous situations. So wandering is a really, really high risk behavior of many people with cognitive conditions. We hear so often about autistic kids that have gone missing, older folks with dementia or Alzheimer's who have gone missing, because it's a really prevalent behavior trait that many of those folks have. And a lot of people, their caregivers who are in charge of taking care of them on a day-to-day basis, providing all of their basic needs, they're at the end of their ropes. They're under such pressure because how difficult it is to take care of somebody with a cognitive condition, just keeping up with their feeding and their medical issues and their basic day-to-day needs is a big enough challenge. But when you have that coupled with the fear that anytime a door is cracked, they're going to get out that door and they're going to wander away. And we hear about silver alerts and amber alerts all the time for missing persons, that a lot of times they have these conditions. So Project Lifesaver actually is an international program that was founded in 1999 in Chesapeake, Virginia, that initially just focused on those with Alzheimer's, because that correlation between their behavior and their condition and their wandering was really identified around that time. So what Project Lifesaver does is it pairs something called a transmitter. It's this object right here. It's a transmitter. It's kind of like a watch-like device, like smartwatch or something like that, that they wear either on their ankle or their wrist, depending on what's easier. They come in different colors, different types of bands. And there's a signal that this transmitter emits. And it's a radio frequency transmitter. So unlike the tracking technology that we have with our smart devices now, it doesn't rely on Wi-Fi signals or cell towers. People that live in remote communities, there's a lot of dead spots where you just lose a signal altogether. You might be following your GPS in your car, and all of a sudden it just disappears and you don't know where you are or how to get back to where you need to go.
Right.
So this technology doesn't utilize that type of tracking at all. It's a radio frequency where there's a certain frequency that every single client has. It's unique to them. There are no duplications. And when they go missing, so this transmitter lets out this signal every 1 or 2 seconds. And if they go missing, we have something that our search team uses called a receiver. Now this receiver, it's an expensive piece of equipment. It's the only thing that can pick up and track that signal from the transmitter. Like I said, every frequency for every client is unique. We program it to whatever client is missing. We turn it on. That beeping is picking up the signal from this transmitter. The good thing is the signal from this transmitter can be picked up from 2 miles away. And not just picked up from a long range like that, but it can also, we did a test over the summertime last year. We identified that it can also pick up that signal even if it's coming from the water. So we went out to the local lake, submerged it in 20 to 30 feet of water, and people on the shore could still pick up that signal. Now, I know as search and rescue focused kind of people, we know how many times we've heard stories about autistic kids going missing, and they are found in a retention pond or a lake, or they fall through the ice or whatever they do, because one of those behaviors associated with autism is the drive to go to water. Water is mesmerizing for kids with autism. It's mesmerizing for me. I love the water. I love just sitting on the shoreline looking at it. But autistic kids don't recognize that they aren't able to swim. So they go to that water and they keep walking in it until eventually they become submerged and they end up drowning. So that's another very dangerous trait of somebody with autism. So this signal from this transmitter, it allows us, when we do search and rescue operations, we are not looking for somebody with a red baseball cap and a white sweatshirt. We don't care what they were wearing last. That's one of the first questions people ask when they arrive on the scene as a responder. Well, what were they wearing? Because then that's going to visually give them clues as to, I found something on the ground, or I recognize that color off in the distance. Right. We don't care what they were wearing, because we do not, the greatest benefit of this program is we do not have to see the people we're looking for. We rely on the signal that I just displayed from that receiver to pick up the location, the direction and the location of that transmitter from up to 2 miles away, like I said. So we're relying on that equipment to tell us the location of that transmitter, which is on our clients 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it will lead us directly to where they are.
Yeah.
We launched our program in my county in 2021. One of our clients went missing at 10 o'clock at night in May, so it was dark out. He was in an extremely remote, desolate area. It was wooded. There were ravines. There were old broken down barns, several outbuildings. Just the whole area was very, very remote. Like good country neighbors do, when the man went missing, they all the community grabbed their four-wheelers and they went out looking for him. First responders were there for 45 minutes with search dogs, and they were looking for him as well. Our team arrived on the scene, pulled out our receiver in the dark, turned it on, and we immediately picked up the signal from that transmitter coming from a complete different area than where the search team was looking, because they figured an 80-year-old man, there's no way he's going to be able to navigate that terrain. But that's another element of those with cognitive conditions. They can do things that you may not expect a person of that age or a person of that physical ability to be able to do, because what's in their brain is driving them to do and go where it's telling them to go, whether there's physical limitations for them or not.
Right.
So here we arrive on the scene 45 minutes after search dogs and responders and community members were looking for this gentleman. We get on the scene 45 minutes later, turn on our receiver, immediately get the signal. We're trained on how to use that signal to go to exactly where it's coming from. We have a 2-day training that we give. We were able to find him in 12 minutes in the dark, a half a mile away in the woods. Again, in the dark, we did not have to see him to be led exactly to where he was. Now, when you're talking about search and rescue, time is essential, especially for those with physical or cognitive limitations like our clients are. It's just fantastic. Saved, instead of a 12-hour search or the search being suspended because of nighttime or the weather, We were able to get him out of there, and he was sipping coffee with his wife in his comfortable chair before we left. It was amazing for all the first responders that were there to have witnessed this technology that they've not seen before, and the community around him, his neighbors, to be able to see what had just happened and how much worse that outcome could have been. So that's what Project Lifesaver does. It pairs a transmitter with equipment that search responders use to locate the exact location of the signal that that transmitter emits.
Okay, Chris, we already have a question, a good question.
All right, hit me.
Mally wants to know, is the wristband hard for the child or adult to take off?
That's a fantastic question, because this only works if, number one, that transmitter is on our clients, right? Because we have like air tags that people now use to track their luggage, right? You take it, you put it in your luggage, you zip tie it to something, whatever you do. People put it, in their pocket if, a loved one is trying to keep up with where they're going. But the problem with that is you can take it out, or you can leave it at home, or it can be in your purse, or it can fall out, or whatever it does. A really important element of this program is this stays on at all times. Now, this band, you can't really see it too much, but it's kind of like a vinyl, plasticky kind of material, very much like a hospital band, only a little bit thicker. It's got a bunch of holes in it, so we put it on our clients, snap it down, and it won't come off. You can't pull it off. There have been times where our clients get a hold of scissors, and we advise the family, try to put all that kind of stuff out of reach if you're using this.
Right.
There are times where they have been able to remove them. And when that happens, our team goes out, our families are instructed right away, we call them the battery change team. There's a 2-person team that visits the family every 60 days to change the battery, clean the equipment, make sure everything is functional, make sure there's nothing else changed with the client as far as their behaviors or medications maybe that they're on. So we make sure that it gets attached back on at the end of the day. So there have been times it comes off, and our families are advised, call us immediately, either me as the program coordinator or our 2-person battery change team, which I'll talk about the great benefit of having a team visit too, but and then we put it back on. Now, we've got several different types. These cases come in a bunch of different colors. The bands come in a bunch of different colors, which is important because nobody wants to wear some jankety, ugly looking thing that everybody else sees and thinks that it's a jail tracker or something like that. You're not under probation or something like that. So we try to make it as aesthetically pleasing as possible. So there's different materials for the bands too. Autistic kids often have sensitivities to different materials, right? A lot of them want to take their clothes off because they just can't stand the feeling of anything touching them. So we understand that too. So we go through a lot of lengths to make sure that this is in a place that the client is comfortable with. And to my surprise, when we first started using this program, it's really amazing how quickly adaptable our clients have become to them. The first time we put it on, they're pretty resistant. Maybe overnight they kind of fidget with it, but when I follow up with the family the next day, they're happy. They're happy with it. The kids like to wear it after a while. Like I said, the bands and cases come in different colors. So if they love Spider-Man, we got a blue band and a red case, and they're happy as a clam. So it's all good. And also, that's why we also look at the ankle. If it's too obstructive and too consuming for them to keep looking at it and being annoyed by it, you put it on the ankle, and it's kind of like an out of sight, out of mind experience. So we have really, really good success. We've never had a client remove their band and lose their equipment or anything like that. And we just go back, put it back on as many times as it takes. We respond immediately because it doesn't work if it's not with the client. Funny story I want to say along with that too. So if they did get it off, this happened to us a couple times, and the caregiver has to test the battery in this every day. We've got a battery tester. They put over it, it lights up, so we know that the signal's working. And if it doesn't, there's a compromise. Same thing. They call us, we come out, we replace the battery in it right away or determine what the issue is, and we fix it. So it's working. So a couple times this has come off because they got a hold of scissors or whatever they did, and the caregiver's in a panic because they can't find it, right?
Right.
They looked in the bed where they last saw it. It's not there. They don't know where it is. So what we do is we show up to their house whenever we have to make it a change like that with our receiver. We turn it on. This tells us it's likely in the house. We've used our receiver to find the location of that transmitter, which a couple times has been outside in a garbage can, in a garbage bag inside the garbage can, because it leads us directly to where the location is, even in that close a proximity. So these transmitters are $450. We don't want to lose these transmitters.
Right.
So if something happens to them, we need to make sure that our families still have one, so we give them another one. But that's a really good story about just the power of how that receiver can work in locating that transmitter, whether it's on the client or not.
All right. Well, thanks for that information. I hope that answered Mally and Troy's questions. So let's talk more about Project Lifesaver works, or how it works. And you said it was for people with cognitive conditions.
That's right.
What makes them so special when they go missing?
So I kind of alluded to this a little bit earlier, but really the challenge with anybody who has a loved one or experiences with somebody who's got specifically Alzheimer's and autism, those are our two biggest client profiles. The way their brain works makes them do things that don't seem logical and in fact are dangerous. Okay, so you might have a parent with Alzheimer's and you're the adult caregiver for that parent. They'll wake up and jump out of bed and be convinced that they have to go pick up their young son from school because the short-term part of their brain, short-term memory part of their brain has been so compromised that they're living in years ago land instead of current time frame, right? And once they get something in their mind that tells them they have to go find their child, no one's going to stop them from doing that. They're going to be belligerent. They're going to be stubborn. They're not going to want to be told, no, that doesn't make sense, because in their mind, that's what the reality is that they're living with. So those are some of the challenges, but there's also other medical side effects of these cognitive conditions. Some of our kids are nonverbal. Some of our grown-ups are nonverbal. So that changes the way you have to conduct a search. You're not going to call out their name because they're not going to hear you calling out their name.
Right.
And the reason this program is really so successful is, unlike standard search and rescue, where first responders are called because somebody unexpectedly goes missing, the searchers probably don't know much, if anything, about that person until they get to the scene and talk to the loved one who called in the first responders to help look, right? Then they're learning about if they have anything wrong medically, if they have any other physical limitations, if they have anything going on that the searchers need to know about, what they were wearing, for example, right?
Right.
The difference that sets us apart as Project Lifesaver is we know the people that we are going to be looking for. We know them in depth. We know them, everything about their medical condition. We know their trigger behaviors. A lot of autistic kids are very sensitive to certain things: colors, lights, sounds, dogs, animals, fabrics, right? So there's a lot of things that really, really agitate them if they come in contact with them. So if we're doing a search and rescue, for example, searchers find the person. They just trudge right up to them, grab them, and take them out of the dangerous situation, right?
Right.
But if we know that our clients have these conditions and these behaviors, these triggers, the last thing we want to do is agitate them further and scare them and make it more difficult to be able to not just locate them, but extract them safely and calmly from that situation and put them in. They'll recognize us, for example, because we visit them on a regular basis. So it's not just being able to locate them, because eventually standard searches will locate a person, whether it's grid searches, line searches. We see options where, full communities are elicited to come and try to help when it's a large area. And a lot of times it's to rule those areas out as much as it is to hopefully find the person in there. Right. But knowing our clients is a huge part of the program. What we do, I kind of said this a little bit, but this battery in this transmitter has to be changed every 60 days. So We have a 2-person battery change team assigned to every single client that we have in our program. We go to the home. We bring the equipment with us to change the band, to change the case if the case is damaged. We make sure put a new battery in it, oil it really good because these are waterproof. We test it, make sure it's still working, and that not only gives us time to inspect the equipment and make sure it's working as it should all the time, but it also gives us an opportunity to catch up with the family. So for those of you that haven't interacted with a family that has a loved one with a cognitive condition, the stress they live under is just extreme. They're in constant fear of something happening to their loved one. They are holding on for dear life to try to be the one that gets to continue to care for their loved one and not have to put them in a nursing home or a care facility or their child. I mean, you see oftentimes people with autistic kids at a restaurant or at Walmart and the child is stimming. They call it stimming when they have one of their stimulation episodes. They could flap their hands or they throw themselves on the floor. And people look at these poor parents and caregivers like, what is wrong with your kid? I mean, they're ashamed to be in public often. They're embarrassed often to have people look at them the way they're looked at. Trust is an extremely difficult and challenging thing for our families. So when we get them in this program, we are somebody that gives them hope and calmness and trust because they can tell us confidently without worrying about getting in trouble that, you know, my elderly mother now, I mean, she's soiling herself at night. I mean, we have access to different agencies that can provide additional care that our program maybe not, but it doesn't provide, but we know other agencies that can help these families and they feel confident enough and safe enough to be able to interact and tell us what other things they might need. So because we visit every 60 days, it's usually a lot of times just catching up and talking with the caregivers. They're happy to tell you what's going on because they don't feel threatened if they do that they're going to get in trouble. We understand our team is trained in not just how this equipment works, but how to interact with not just the clients that have these conditions, how best to approach them and talk to them, but to be able to work with the caregivers who are under such pressure and fear for their loved ones, that they can feel happy enough and safe enough and confident enough and trust us enough to have that relationship and be able to share with us what they need, because then we can help even more. It's not just about locating and finding our missing people, but it's being able to support these families who are in desperate need of it, but don't know where to get it or trust people to be able to provide what they need instead of, you know, being judged for not being able to take care of their loved ones themselves. It's really a great two-way street because our teams feel such value in knowing that they're helping these families, not just with the equipment, but just to give them a safe place to talk about what their struggles are.
I'm from doing the training with you. I remember you say the teams, they build such rapport with the families that they can notice when something has even changed within the dynamics.
Right.
That maybe the family's scared to say something or whatever. You know, at least they can pick up on these subtle changes and maybe make, you know, like you aware that something has changed. And
those are important things for us. They're important things to know as well when we're doing a search that, you know, now they're on this new medication. And if they're off their medication, they may have like a psychotic episode or something.
Right.
We know that when we're out doing the search, because again, it's not just locating the people, it's understanding when we find them, how we would need to interact and to be able to get them those additional resources if they need them for different things. Like there's visiting nurse care that a lot of our adult children of Alzheimer's clients, they rely on those types of services too, because they're stressed too. They want to go out and go to the grocery store, but they can't leave their loved one. So we can provide resource lists for them to be able to contact, to have somebody come in and give them those breaks, give them that relief. turn them to a senior center that has bingo or something. They can drop their loved one off there and pick them up after a couple hours of a break. So
Right.
it's really, really great. Again, just not just waiting for the when they go missing, but every 60 days to be able to provide that kind of comfort and support. It's really important.
Yeah, it is very important. You're right. How do families get enrolled into the program, and how much would it cost them?
Great question. So there are 3 qualifying conditions that our clients, and I say the clients are the people with these cognitive conditions. They're the people that we have enrolled, and we have a contract with their primary caregiver. Now, each client has to have a primary caregiver. That's the first qualifying condition. And it doesn't have to be just a single person. It doesn't have to be, it can be multiple people, as long as there's somebody that is in constant oversight of their loved one 24/7, because they're the person that's going to call 911 when they go missing. Now, when 911 is called, our Project Lifesaver team goes to the scene and starts the search, along with the regular first responders who will be there too. So 3 conditions. Number 1, got to have a 24/7 primary caregiver or caregivers that are looking after the health and care of that client.
Okay.
The second thing is they have to live in the jurisdiction or the county that has a Project Lifesaver team, because not everybody does. There's, I think, 1,200 agencies worldwide. We've got about 100 in Indiana where I live, and about 50 actually in Indiana. And our program is the only program in our county. Now, there's some bigger counties like Indianapolis, has Marion County, where there's many agencies in there because it's such a highly populated area. So you have to live within the jurisdiction of a Project Lifesaver agency. If you go to projectlifesaver.org, that is the website, and I believe there's a Facebook page too, but that is the website of the Project Lifesaver International, where you can find within 50 miles where the nearest agency is to you. Now, if you happen to be in Putnam County, Indiana right now, you can get a hold of me directly and find out how to get your loved one enrolled. But that's 2 of the things now. So 24/7 caregiver, got to live within a Project Lifesaver agency. And the third one is you have to have been diagnosed with one of those cognitive conditions. Now, we're not going to ask for a doctor's prescription or a doctor's report that proves it. But when we do our enrollments, we're trained enough to know when we walk into somebody's home and we sit there and we go over about how the program works. We show the equipment. We give them the guidelines that they have to follow to be in this program. We can tell if there's issues, cognitive issues with the loved one that we're going to be enrolling. So those are the 3 things. This isn't to be used for a husband suspecting his wife of cheating and wanting to have a tracker on her and be able to chase her around. That's not what this program is, right?
Right.
It's not about putting it in your suitcase and being able to find your suitcase somewhere. It's not what it's about. This equipment is specifically for our search teams who are trained in these cognitive conditions and the equipment to locate our clients who are missing. And we have to be sure that the caregivers are following the guidelines of the program, so we can have success when we do that.
Okay. Mallory,
the cost. You asked about the cost. That's the best part.
I was going to say, Mallory asked the question here. She wants to know.
I'm not dodging it because I'm happy for this answer. So our program in Putnam County, Indiana, we were founded because a member of the community went to our emergency management agency director, EMA director, and said, I heard about this program. I've got an autistic kid. How come we don't have this program in our community? I touched on it briefly where we were talking about the number of resources we have in our community to be able to sustain a team that can do this work, right? So my team is 32 people right now. We've got a bunch of 2-person teams that go do the battery changes. Oh, am I there?
Wait a minute. I was trying to get a better
screen. All right. Okay. I had to find myself there for a second.
Yeah. I was trying to look at a different layout. It just,
okay.
We're so far apart.
Right. So our team was founded because a member of the community went to our emergency management director and said, I heard about this program. My kid has autism. This would help. Why don't we have it? Our director looked and said, well, we're kind of tight on resources as far as our fire departments and our police departments, which a lot of agencies are incorporated into their local fire and police departments. Several agencies are those. Because we didn't have that number of resources available to sustain a team, our Putnam County CERT team, which is CERT is Community Emergency Response Team. Oh, you lost me again.
Sorry.
Okay. All right. There you go. So our Community Emergency Response Team is also a volunteer organization, but we have like 60 members of our team, and we're FEMA trained and certified in a variety of first response disciplines. So we're not just a bunch of do-gooder volunteers that are awesome, but a lot of times you can't depend on them to safely do what the first responders need them to help do. So our team is a subset of that CERT team who's FEMA trained and certified in a bunch of first response disciplines. And that's how we were able to launch this program in our county. Now we did also, I talked about the expense of this $450 transmitter here. That's not cheap. Each one of these receivers is $1,200. We've purchased 10 of these for our county. We've purchased 30 of those transmitters for our county. We've gotten grants and donations from organizations, places like the Alzheimer's Foundation. We've got organizations in our county that provide those types of grants and funding and donations to help us launch. So it took us a year or two of steady fundraising, training, certifying our team to get it to a size where we would be able to support our community confidently with the equipment that we need, with the supplies that we need. And we've done it all to be able to provide this program 100% free for anybody who qualifies with those 3 conditions. That's it. That's all you need. You don't need to pay a dime. You don't have to even pay for the batteries or the bands. We take care of it all. All you need to do is comply with the terms of the contract that our caregivers sign, which is they test the battery and the equipment every day. We give them the battery tester. You call 911 if your loved one goes missing, and you call our team if the band becomes detached or the battery doesn't test successfully. You call us right away and we'll come out and fix it. That's all you need to do. It's fantastic for people that are in such desperate situations, trying all they can do to take care of their loved one. They don't have to worry about a price. This isn't going to be given to just those who can afford it, because it is so important. We are so invested in our community, in the people in our community, to be able to provide them something we know is going to change average search times from hours and days and sometimes weeks and sometimes never recovering them to just literally minutes. The average Project Lifesaver search time is only 30 minutes. It's fantastic. The only thing stopping us from being able to give this to more people is just their awareness that the program exists.
Right.
So things like this, when you hear about this program from someone like me on a YouTube channel, you know about it now. You know that there's help out there exactly for situations where our caregivers don't know, don't recognize it, but everybody knows somebody that has a condition like this that could probably benefit from the program.
Right. And like you said, it may not be in every county and every state, but maybe they can look around or see about getting the program in their county.
We've had several clients of ours who've been part of our program in our county. They've moved to a county that didn't have the program.
Right.
And we had to take the equipment back. We can't cover them if they're out of our jurisdiction because we don't get the 911 notifications if they go missing. It's terrible to have to tell these people, well, you're now going to be in a county that doesn't have it. But what I have committed to my families is I will call those jurisdictions within where you're living, and I will talk to them. And if they have a program, then I will transfer all the equipment, all of the data from our program into their jurisdiction. Now, all of the information we have about our clients, including their equipment, including the frequency of that transmitter, it's all in a Project Lifesaver International database that only program members can access. So we
Right.
can share this information with each other, because it's not just about you're moving to a new community that has a program, but maybe you're going on vacation to Disney World and you want to take your autistic kid there and he's a member of our program. Well, clearly we're not going to be able to respond if he goes missing in Disney World, but during those 60-day visits, our battery change team is going to come back to me and say, Chris, Bobby's going to Disney World June 1st through 5th. Can you just, let them know? Absolutely. I will get a hold of the local Project Lifesaver jurisdiction at Disney World and say, here is all my client information. They're going to be there from this date to this date. Should they go missing while they're in Disney World or grandma's house or wherever, that local program will be aware. They have the information. They go missing. They will get called just as if it was my own search team in Putnam County, Indiana. And they will arrive at the scene with that receiver and pick up the signal of that transmitter, because now they have all that information about our client. It's an international program, and my vow to our families and Project Lifesaver's vow to the families is you're going to be protected no matter where you go if there is a program available in that location. And if there's not, we will get a hold of the local police department from that location and make them aware of the additional danger of wandering that these people might have to encounter, just so they're aware. I love that for the program.
That has to give that caregiver some peace of mind that they don't have to worry as much that, going somewhere different.
And it's a legitimate concern that many of them have. I mean, having their child go on a field trip with the rest of their class, it's a scary thing, right?
Yeah.
To be able to remove that additional layer. I mean, that's something that some people may not think about, but if you have an autistic kid, you think about that all the time. And people don't just go missing from their home, right? You go anywhere, somewhere different, go to Walmart, and all of a sudden you turn around and Billy's gone. Where did he go? Call 911. That's all you need to do, and we will get there and we will start the search.
Mally had another great question. Is the receiver with the family or local police department or where?
Great question. So our team is made up of that CERT team, right? So we talked about that. But in promoting this program within our county, we've also reached out to those volunteer fire departments, which we've got several in our county. So members of those fire departments came to us and took our training and got certified to become search specialists. They purchased a receiver to keep in their stations. We've also, we purchased 10 of them for our county. Our team, being volunteer, we're scattered throughout the county because we're a county agency. So if I've got a member of my team that lives furthest north, they're going to have one of these in their home. I have one in my home. We kind of try to keep a few of them spread out throughout the county so we can respond more quickly, and our team members have easier access to these receivers, this equipment. If they don't, what we would do is we go to our emergency management building in Greencastle, Indiana. We go pick it up from a location inside that building, take it, and then go to the scene. Adds a couple extra minutes, but we try to make it as easy as possible for multiple people in our team to be able to have quick access to those receivers and get to the scene as quickly as possible. So if it's a police organization that has the program launched and they're responsible for it, they'll probably have the equipment either with designated officers or within the police building itself.
Good to know. How big is the Putnam County Project Lifesaver team, and how was it put together?
All right. So our team, like I said, we started off as 100% volunteer members of the CERT organization, the CERT team in our county, which gave us a big leg up because, again, it's not just people from the community who have to start from scratch with limited skills as far as not just how the program works or search and rescues work, but all those other things that you encounter during disastrous times. So we started with a really good baseline, but so the first thing we did, we had 7 members of that team start off as the launching members, the founding members of the Putnam County Project Lifesaver team. So 7 of us took 2-day training where we covered how to use the equipment. We covered all the guidelines and rules around the program. And we actually had an additional day of training where we were certified trainers in Project Lifesaver as well. So that allowed us to go and train the rest of our Project Life or
Okay.
CERT team, right? So we didn't have to pay additional fees to have Project Lifesaver International come out and train our team. We now had people on our team that were certified as trainers, and we've trained the whole rest of our team ourselves. So we went from 7 members in 2021 to 32 members now, and we're extremely proud of that.
Nice.
It's been a really good growth experience. It gives us continual hands-on work with this program. So we've grown our team significantly. We enrolled our first client in 2022, which happened to be the same year our first client went missing. So that was an amazing testimony to how the program worked. We've worked really hard to promote it within our county, and we've gotten a lot of local support from the local newspaper, Banner Graphic, the local radio station, WREB, and we've gone and talked to them several times about the program. So we were able to go from just that first client in 2022. We've enrolled 30 clients, 30 families from Putnam County. Since then, we've got 16 active clients right now, and we're always looking for who needs our help. We are
Right.
trying really hard to just get the word out that this program exists. So we go out on social media, Facebook pages, and we go to community centers, senior centers, schools, talk to the principals, let them be aware of the program, autism
Right.
centers. There's a lot of really, really good therapies out there, and centers for autistic kids that they attend those regularly because there's a lot of really good things about where we are as a society with mental illness and things like cognitive conditions where they're destigmatized now, where people aren't afraid to say, I've got this loved one with a problem. Can
Right.
someone help me? Now, we can't help with a lot of those challenges these families face, but I know for certain that if their fears, their loved one's going to go missing, we can help with that. And we can absolutely guarantee that we will be there when that day comes.
And with the day and age that it is now, a lot of parents or caregivers, they do get on social medias, including YouTube, and that's why I thought of you. They're looking for resources,
Yep,
on their own. So
yep.
maybe this will find them and land in their lap and they can learn about this program.
Every opportunity like this, where I'm asked to come and speak to it because you've become an advocate for this program because you took the training and you
Yes.
listened and you sat through it, and it struck you that, hey, there's something I might be able to do to help promote
Yes.
this program to others. Anyone who hears about this program can become an advocate. Everyone that's on my team is an advocate for this program because we understand the benefits and we know there's people out there that need it and need help. So
Yes.
any of y'all listening, I think Jeanette will be able to share my contact information with everyone. And
Yes, I
I
can.
will do all I can to help you either find a local Project Lifesaver organization in your community, or if you're in Putnam County, Indiana, I can help you immediately get somebody enrolled into the program who may need it.
Yeah.
I will answer any questions you may have for me because I've seen firsthand how this program works. After we did our first rescue of one of our clients in the dark in May in 2022, there was a woman in Greencastle who went missing that August, so a few months after our first found client. She went missing. It was in the evening, like 8 o'clock in the evening in August. She was not a member of our program. She was an Alzheimer's client or an Alzheimer's patient who lived with her adult daughter in a pretty remote part of Greencastle because there's a lot of fields and farmland and woods and a lot of distance between neighbors there. She went missing. Her daughter immediately called 911. They were searching till about 10 o'clock or midnight that night, and they had to suspend the search because of dark.
Right.
That woman spent 12 hours outside, 85 years old, 12 hours outside, and they resumed the search the next morning. They found her within, I don't know, an hour or two, and she was just over by the neighbor's house behind a building, behind a barn, which you couldn't have seen unless you were right there looking for her, which is why just relying on the signal to identify, number one, the direction it's coming from, and then number two, the more you walk towards that sound, the more you're going to narrow down the exact location of that. So it's safe. I mean, thankfully she was okay, but she went from being missing just right down the road to being found, but 12 hours later, and thankfully she was all right. So her daughter called me the next day, and we got her enrolled immediately, and she's been a member of our program for the last 3 years. And I can't tell you the gratitude that this woman gives to us all the time, every time we go visit and change that band, and the relationship we have with that family now. I mean, it's a heartwarming story.
And that brings up a good question that Troy brought up. Does this give an exact location as like an AirTag, or just a general location?
No, it gives you the exact pinpoint location. When we do our training, we don't put this on a person. So part of our training and certification is we have to find this transmitter, 3 different transmitters within 15 minutes of a 1 mile radius. And we use things like woods, we use things like fields, cornfields. We hide them pretty good from our team when they're getting their certification, because if you can find this little thing in a field, you're going to find it on somebody's wrist, because you're going to see the person well before you see the actual transmitter on their wrist. We 100% rely on this equipment to pinpoint. I train and certify all of our team members. We practice this all the time. We do drills all the time, just so we don't forget. If you don't use it, you lose it, right? So we do training and retraining and equipment familiarization all the time, but it will take us directly to where that transmitter is, and that's part of our training and our certification. And we get recertified every 2 years. So there is no don't use it and lose it scenario, because we're constantly refamiliarizing ourselves and practicing with this equipment, because we don't need it often, but when we do, we don't want people fumbling around and forgetting how to do what we do. So yes, it will take us exactly to the location. And I haven't used the AirTags or anything, but consider this: your AirTags in your smartphones, in your Life 360s or Find My apps on your phone, are heavily reliant on those cell tower signals and Wi-Fi signals and strength of your battery in your phone to be able to find those locations too. So there's far more opportunity for failure in using those Wi-Fi enabled app devices than it is using our radio frequency. And not only that, other people don't have access to this equipment who aren't members of our team. I talked about our CERT team, and I talked about our Project Lifesaver team, but something else people need to understand is everyone on our team passes a background check. Everyone on our team is trained and certified, and again, those behaviors and the equipment. We are very, very certain and secure of the people on our team being trustworthy enough to be able to look for the most vulnerable in our community who are going to have challenges, and they're easy targets for some people that just want to find people who are wherever they are with their own devices, right? This is a specialized, very tailored device specifically for this application. And it doesn't do us any good trying to search for something that isn't this transmitter. And nobody else that doesn't have this is going to be able to find that transmitter, because again, it's a radio frequency and not a Wi-Fi enabled cell tower required piece of equipment.
That's good to know. Who all makes up your team, and can just anybody become a member of the team?
When we started, it was just members of our CERT team. Since then, in an effort to continue to get the message out and engage more people from the community to be involved in the program, we've got, I think, 8 or 10 members of our team, our volunteer fire department firefighters from various departments throughout the county. They heard about, we actually called a meeting together to get all of the chiefs together, and told them about this program, and they were immediately invested and interested because our fire departments are often involved in missing person searches. They've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly, and how devastating and how much time missing person searches take in a place like ours, where there's just so many vast areas, and they elicit community help a lot to be able to execute those standard traditional missing person searches. So we've got our CERT team, we've got our volunteer fire department members as members of our team. We had a volunteer sheriff deputy from our county involved in our team. But we also have members of the community who heard about this program. One of the communities in our county has 13 people from that community as members of our team, and they act as the battery changers, those people that go out and establish those relationships with our families and check on the equipment and check on our people. They want to do something to help support this program, and getting involved that way has just been fantastic. It's a great husband, wife, or adult and adult child kind of thing you can do together, friends, or whoever from these different communities that want to help, people from the church who want to come together and say, I want to be part of this team and just help these people who need it, and help strengthen and grow our team so we can continue to bring more clients into the program, because we don't want to have more people than we can take care of.
Right.
So we have to be committed to not only just having a good solid team, but a team big enough to support all of our families the way they need the support, because we're not going to cheat on that at all.
Good to know. How does someone get their loved one enrolled in the program or go about joining the team?
Okay, start with me. If you're in Putnam County, Indiana, I will take the lead. You just get a hold of me. My name, obviously, Chris Schafer. Email address, chrisschafer@pccert.org. And I don't know if you've got a copy of my business card, Jeanette, but I can share that with you, that you can maybe pin or something on this YouTube, so people have any contact details.
I'm going to put your contact information in my description box.
Perfect. So you can start with me, no matter where it is you're from. And I will get you either in touch with your local Project Lifesaver team, if you have one. And if not, I'll try to find the nearest agency for you to contact to see if they're interested in beginning a Project Lifesaver team. And then you can share my information with them too, because I'm happy to share our story with any other communities that don't have a program but may be able to support one. I've even offered to go to different counties and actually give the training to those counties so they don't have to pay for the cost of launching the program from a training standpoint, because I think it costs like $500 for Project Lifesaver International to send a trainer out. I am such a huge advocate for this program that I try to do all I can to make it as easy as possible for other communities and other people to become part of the team, to launch their program to help their members of their community who need it. And that's the same thing for enrolling a loved one into the program. You need to go through your local Project Lifesaver team in your jurisdiction, and I can help you find out who that is. But also projectlifesaver.org, Project Lifesaver, all one word, .org. They've got a website that has tons of information on it about different tools that they also have that are, some of them can be operated by people at home, the caregivers. They have local kind of a perimeter alarm type technology that they also help promote. But I can get you started on how to find out the information that you need to either enroll somebody in your life or get involved in the program yourself or your community.
Well, that's all good information.
Just one more thing I want to say. I've seen this program work up close and personal. We have families in our programs with loved ones who have gone missing. We're gone, for over 12 hours before getting in touch with me and becoming part of our program. I can't overstate the amount of relief and the amount of gratitude our families have that have become members of our program, the appreciation they have for being able to take just that one additional stress off their plate. The thought of every time a story goes on the news about an autistic child or an elderly person going missing, their minds immediately go to their loved one. The stress that they're under constantly, and the fear again. My own father, my mom's got Alzheimer's, and he and I had a discussion one day about mom starting, to really get harder and harder for him to take care of. And he was so worried that if he reached out for help from not just Project Lifesaver, but any agency, from visiting nurses or
Right.
any programs that are available to help with just that situation, he is afraid that he would get in trouble, or my mom would be taken away from him. And that's not an uncommon fear for most of our families who are struggling with this issue. And
Yes.
there is help out there. It's not what most people think it to be as far as what's going to happen if you reach out to somebody for help, because there's so many programs out there that just want to help you, and it's hard to trust if you have that fear. And we understand that. And this program has really just not just from a search and rescue perspective like we intended it to be, but our whole team, I think, it's been transformed in some way through this program, because we all know somebody who knows somebody that has a loved one that they're just hanging on for dear life trying to help. And
Right.
you're not alone. We can help you. Let us help you. Let us get started. And if it's something that works for you, awesome. If it doesn't, we'll try to find what it is that will help. So that's our commitment to this program. And like I said, for the 5 years I've been involved in it, it's been by far, I think, the best thing that I've gotten myself into. And I get myself into a lot of stuff, but this for sure is the most rewarding in a way that I didn't expect it to be. So
Right.
everybody else can kind of learn from that, and don't be afraid to reach out and ask questions, and I'll do all I can to help anybody get involved.
Yeah. And once this is over, I will go back and I will edit my description box, and I will put in your contact information, because at the time I didn't have it. So
Sure. Would it help if I give you a picture of my business card? It's got all my stuff on it too.
Okay.
Anything you need, we'll work together after the call. That would be great.
Okay. I may still have, I don't know. No, that's my CERT team stuff. Oh, yes, I do. I have it.
All right. Good deal. All right. And now everybody who was on this YouTube cast today, you all have heard about it.
Yep.
You all know something about it. Maybe not all the details, maybe not all the right words, but you know this exists. And
Right.
all I ask is reach out to somebody who has an issue that they're trying to resolve themselves without the tools they need, and help us help them. That's all I ask.
It's like I told you when I approached you about this, I was on somebody else's live stream, and they had a mom on there, and their child is autistic, and their child was missing, and they had never heard about this program.
Yeah.
And I thought, I've went looking around myself on YouTube to see if I could find anything. Nothing that I found.
It's shocking with something that is so beneficial and really, in the grand scheme of things, not that expensive for agencies and communities to be able to invest in. We invest in a lot of other stuff that maybe doesn't have as huge a benefit or as impactful a result as this. And every single time we see those news reports of young kids going missing or the elderly going missing and they're in danger, you just want to scream out, we can help. I know we can help. And we'll get there. Hopefully someday it'll be a common thing for all law enforcement or fire department agencies to have that kind of resource commitment to their community members.
Cynthia is giving you a thank you.
You're so welcome. And again, anything I can do to help anybody whose story, who's been touched by today's session. And Jeanette, I can't thank you enough for becoming an advocate too and giving us
You're
this
very
opportunity,
welcome.
because we're going to reach somebody out of this for sure. And you'll be able to look back and say you had a big part of that. So I appreciate you. Thank you.
Well, I mean, we didn't have very many in here, but there's always the rewatch crew.
Yeah, for sure.
And shout out to them. They
And,
help so
and
much.
and yeah, let's share the link for this too. You and I can talk about that for people to be able to search on it and just hopefully go back and watch it when it's that, instead of some goofy video about a dog falling or
Right.
something. Let's do something a little more positive if we can, right?
Melissa says, this was wonderful. So very informative. Thank you. You're welcome,
Thank you.
Melissa.
Yeah, you're welcome, Melissa. Thank you.
Some of these are my road dogs. They know.
All right. Good deal. I
Because
appreciate what you guys do. So thank you.
I put out about the missing. I don't care age, sex, ethnicity, or nothing.
Yep.
We talk about them.
People are people, and
Yes.
for anybody who has had to endure what goes on when their loved one goes missing, whether they're impacted by cognitive conditions or not. I mean, I can't imagine what that feels like, and the helplessness. And I mean, the Samantha Guthrie thing, for example, I mean, that's something completely out of bounds for this topic. But I mean, what do? You just wake up one morning and your whole world changes in a couple hours. And you
Savannah.
just think back, what could I have done different that would have been able to protect them? Everybody goes through that. And
Yeah.
it's just the way
Savannah.
the world is.
It's Savannah Guthrie.
Oh, Savannah, sorry. Thank you. I haven't
Yeah.
been following it nearly as much as maybe I should be, but it's tough. Yeah.
That's where I'm thinking a lot of people are, because there are a bunch of streams that are live because there's a bunch of stuff going on.
Yeah.
So
Definitely. We
I'm
help each other when we
raising
can.
minor.
We help each other when we can, and hopefully we
Yeah.
have the opportunities and we take advantage of them as they're presented. And everybody, not everybody can do everything, but
Right.
everybody can do something. So every little bit helps.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you, Chris.
Thank you very much. I appreciate
It's a
the
pleasure.
opportunity. All right. We'll talk to you later.
All right. Bye, Chris. So I hope everyone found that very informative. That's some information that I told you about that I was hoping to get to share with you one day. And I'm glad we done it. You never know who will be watching. They may need the assistance. And like I said, I will put Chris's contact information in our description box. You can go down there and contact her. Oh, thank you, Hoosier. Thank you, everybody. I mean, if she's not the person in the right county, in the right state for you, she will do some research and help you find someone, maybe. Or maybe help find someone in your county that might be willing to start a program. Who knows? We need this information out there. There are so many that need this program. I'm just, it's in my heart. So, no, thanks. Thank you, guys. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Hopefully, we'll get this message out there. It's very important. And you all do your best. I know you will. All right. I'll see you guys later. Bye. Love ya.